Looks like Trump is set to unveil his tariff plans on April 2nd, dubbing it Liberation Day. Now, this obviously comes after Trump's continuous rhetoric that the U.S. has been treated unfairly with trade and other policies. Now, Trump generally takes trade deficits and helping other nations as a sign that they're getting screwed over, but it really is the exact opposite. For example, with trade and imports. Now, while it's true that US is a net importer, they generally take those imports, make finished goods with them, and then sell them at a markup for a higher price. What that means is US businesses and companies wouldn't be importing these goods if they weren't making money from those imports by finishing the goods that they do end up selling. So being a net importer as the US is actually a good thing for them. Now, currently, Trump is using that leverage to tariff these other countries, but soon enough, that leverage goes away. We're already seeing that right now currently with nuclear weapons. The U.S. has always kind of been that protector, that big brother for other nations who don't have nuclear arms. But now we're seeing, after Trump saying that he doesn't want to do that anymore, that other nations are starting to build their own, for example, within Europe. Now, the U.S. was able to leverage its nuclear superpower status to get other nations to kind of help them in other ways. But they are losing that leverage as we see Europe and other nations start to build up their own nuclear arsenals and trying to kind of get away from the U.S. there. So these tariffs and other kind of pushes for deglobalization are really only hurting the states and eroding that leverage that the U.S. has over other nations. Now, some may argue that the leverage increases with these tariffs, but the problem is, again, with that nuclear example, we see other nations start to pull away and start working with other nations besides the U.S., causing this kind of deglobalization, but also leading the U.S. to be kind of less important in that entire circle.